Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of I Said It, I Am Not Sorry. It has been a while since I sat behind this mic. A while for me is more than a few days. So a while for me might not be a while for you guys. So for me, it was 2 weeks. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. This one was hard for me to do this episode. I've been recording and then re-recording, deleting, re-recording, deleting, re-recording, just because I was trying to find the right words to say. You ever have something that's like sitting on your heart for weeks, but you just couldn't bring yourself to face it? That was me with Charlie Kirk's memorial. I knew watching it was going to hit me deep, and I knew it wasn't going to be something I could just play in the background and move on from. And when I finally did sit down to watch it, Erika Kirk literally brought me to literal, actual tears. And it wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. The strength, the faith, the love, the fire. You could see she wasn't speaking from her head, but she was speaking straight from her spirit. Charlie's death still doesn't feel real, and he wasn't just another political voice. He wasn't just another voice that when they pass away, everything they said and everything they did just goes with them. For a lot of us, he was someone who helped open our eyes, someone who said the hard truths but never lost sight of Jesus. And personally, Charlie pushed me to grow. He pushed me to think deeper, to love stronger, and to trust God even more than I already was. So today's episode, I want to do two things. First, I want to walk through his memorial, right? What it felt like, what stood out to me, what people said. But the heart of this episode is Erika Kirk's speech. We're going to take her words and dissect some of the lines that she said and really just break them down. What she meant, how it hit me, and what it means for all of us going forward. So wherever you're listening, if you're driving, working, cleaning, or you just clicked on the video because you saw it, or you clicked on the video because you want something to play in the background while you take a moment to breathe, slow down, because this one is from the heart. I'm going to paint a picture for anyone who hasn't seen his memorial yet. Picture this, right? The State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, packed. And when I say packed, I don't mean like, oh, there's a few hundred people there, there's a few thousand people, wall to wall packed. They said over 90,000 people came out, and that's not even counting the overflow of people who were crowded across the street in the desert Diamond Arena. You had people all over the country, even outside of the country, there to celebrate Charlie's life. And if anyone who wasn't in the stadium, right, that's 90,000 people in the stadium, not including the Desert Diamond Arena, but that's not even counting the amount of people that were watching his memorial live online. And you had people all over there watching in the moment to celebrate the life and the legacy of Charlie Kirk. You could feel the grief when you clicked on the video, or at least when I did, but you could also feel the gratitude. The worship music playing, hands raised, people crying, hugging, praying. It wasn't just a memorial, but it was a revival. And I mean that literally, because while everyone came to remember, there was this energy that said, we're not stopping here. There were a lot of big names there, right? President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, pastors, youth leaders, Charlie's closest friends. Trump called Charlie a martyr for truth and freedom. Vance, our vice president, talked about how Charlie's consistency inspired him. Pastors spoke about faith, repentance, and standing firm in the word of God. And through it all, there was this thread, this feeling that Charlie's death wasn't an ending, but it was a challenge to conservatives. Were we going to pick up where he left off or let his torch go out? Were we going to pick up the microphone that dropped after his assassination? Or were we going to let the cries of Charlie speaking the truth fall into the background? Then came Mrs. Kirk. And anytime I talk about her, I always address her as Mrs. Kirk, right? Sometimes I do say Erika, but for most parts, I address her as Mrs. Kirk out of respect. She started off her speech with, God bless all of you for coming here from all over the world to honor and celebrate my Charlie. When she said that, the crowd went silent. Because think about it, right? Think about it. She's standing on that stage. Her husband's gone, the whole world watching, and she starts by blessing us. She didn't start with anger, screaming, cursing, sarcasm, or even pain. She started with gratitude, and that spoke volume to me. Because gratitude and grief, that's not natural. That's spiritual. That's faith that says, God, even when I don't understand, I still thank you. And she said, celebrate, not mourn. That's a statement within itself. She wanted that room to remember Charlie's life, not just his death. And it made me realize faith doesn't erase pain, but it gives it meaning. And that's exactly what she was doing. She was giving her pain meaning. She said, that young man, I forgive him. Because it's what Christ did, and it's what Charlie would do. And I know a lot of people were like, oh, Charlie wouldn't forgive him. Charlie's a fascist. He's a racist. He's this, he's that. I believe in my heart of hearts, Charlie would have forgiven him. That line really did take me out. And I had to pause the video. I literally said out loud to my TV. Mind you, there was no one else in my room. But to my TV, I go, she forgives him? Who does that? Who stands in front of the world after the world watched the man you loved, the love of your life, be assassinated in front of millions and thousands of people and say, I forgive the person who took him from me? That's not weakness. That's the strongest thing I've ever seen. And that's why I love Erika. And the way she said it, calm, steady, no hate in her tone, no sarcasm. That's how you knew it was real. She didn't say it to sound spiritual, but she said it because she lives what she believes. And it convicted me. It made me think about the grudges I still held on to or was still holding on to. If Erika can forgive, what excuses do I have to keep holding on to bitterness? That's when I realized forgiveness doesn't free the other person, it frees you. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. Y'all, that gave me chills. Chills beyond compare. Because you could hear the warrior in her voice. She wasn't saying, I'm hurt, ooh, poor me. She was saying, I'm activated. She took what the enemy meant to destroy her and turned it into fuel. And that line, the cries of this widow will echo around the world, that's not just emotion, but that's prophecy. It reminded me that God really can use pain to build purpose. How many of us go through things and think, this is it, I'm done? When God's actually saying, no, this is where I start building something in you. That's what Erika did. She turned her heartbreak into her holy fire. She said, the answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love, for our enemies and for those who persecute us. Y'all, she was preaching. She literally preached. That is a full sermon in one sentence. Because let's be real. That's the hardest command in the Bible. Love your enemies. Pray for people who hurt you. That's not easy. But Erika did it publicly, in real time. She reminded us that love is not a feeling, it's a choice. And it's not a soft choice either. It's one of the most radical and powerful things a believer can do. When she said that, I felt convicted and inspired all at once. Because it's easy to talk about love when life is good, but it's different when you have to talk about love through tears. And that's when I realized her faith wasn't built on comfort, it was built on conviction. She said, the movement my husband built will not die. I refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. You could feel through the TV, I thought my TV was going to break. You could feel the stadium erupt. That's when Erika shifted from a widow to a warrior, from grieving to leading. She said, I refuse. That's the kind of fire that builds legacies. She didn't just want to keep his name alive. She wanted to keep his mission alive. That's love. That's partnership. It made me think, we all have something or someone we say we believe in, but are we willing to fight for it when it costs us everything? Erika stood up there and showed us what that looks like. She ended her speech by saying, I am tremendously honored to be the new CEO of Turning Point USA. Charlie and I were united in purpose. His passion was my passion, and now his mission is my mission. That sealed the entire moment. She wasn't just speaking emotionally, she was stepping into action. She didn't just say, I'll carry the message. She said, I'll carry the mission. And you could tell this wasn't a new calling. It's one she'd already been walking in beside him all along. It made me think this is what legacy looks like. It's not someone carrying your last name. It's someone carrying your purpose. And Erika was doing that. Erika is doing that. She's not filling his shoes, she's continuing his walk. By the time her speech ended, I was just perplexed. I sat there, quiet, because what she said wasn't just emotional, it was biblical. It was raw faith in action. She didn't just talk about forgiveness, she did it. She didn't just talk about strength, she showed it. And she didn't just talk about love, she lived it. And that's what hit me the hardest, because it made me check myself. It made me think, how do I handle my pain? How do I treat people who hurt me? And do I walk in the same grace? Watching Erika speak was like watching someone who decided, I'm not going to let the world tell me how to grieve. I'm going to let God guide me through it. And that is powerful. So the memorial, it wasn't a funeral, and it was more than a tribute. It was a message. Every song, every prayer, every tear pointed back to the one truth that even when it looks like death won, God's still moving. Charlie's impact isn't gone, it's multiplied. And Erika, she is proof that when one voice falls, God will raise another. Our proof that when one voice falls, God will raise another. Her words reminded me that our faith can't just be a Sunday thing. It has to be an everyday thing, the kind that holds steady even when life breaks you in half. So if you haven't watched the memorial, do it. Sit with it. And when you hear Erika speak, don't just listen. Feel it. Let it challenge you and let it grow you. For the last time, probably not, but as I wrap up this series, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. And Erika, thank you for showing us what faith looks like when the world's watching. You brought me to tears, but you also reminded me why I believe. And for that, I am eternally grateful. That's all I have for you guys today. And if you made it this far, I am beyond grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This one came straight from my heart, and I needed to process it. And I'm glad I got to process it with all of you. But listen, our next episode, we are taking it a step further. We're talking about where do we go from here as conservatives, as Christians, as people who believe in the truth and want to spread the truth. Because it's one thing to be inspired and it's another to take action. So next time, we're going to talk about what it looks like to stand for faith, to stand for morals, and to stand for each other in a world that's trying to silence us. So stay tuned. No filters, no fear, and definitely no apologies. Stay unapologetic, stay unashamed, and stay unafraid. I'm Ashan, and this has been I Said It, I'm Not Sorry.